Hi there everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Should You Pull for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Now today we're going to be talking about a character that's been very highly anticipated by a great number of players for global version in Sherlotta. But before we do that, the JP version of the game had something pretty special to show us as well. I woke up this morning and I saw that my Discord had exploded and people were all talking about this new thing that happened. I'm like half awake going, what's going on? Go on out, go online, go on Reddit, go on YouTube and have a look at things. And JP has announced not one but two new weapon types for characters going into the near future. And one of them is called the LD weapon and one of them is called a burst weapon. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below so that you guys can check out the stream itself or the recap from the JP stream so that you guys can see exactly what this all entails. But this is very exciting stuff. If you watch what School does with these two new weapons, it's really cool. Like the way they've animated it, the way they've presented it, even the way they've changed the pulling animations for if you get a burst weapon is really cool. And the black and lightning background, I'm really into it. There was a lot of other information as well presented that involved like a new type of Kupo card type thing that's like a subscription based thing. That I don't want to go into too much detail when it comes to things like that. A, because I'm not knowledgeable enough about it to make an educated opinion on it because it was only revealed last night and it's not out yet in JP. So I want to see exactly what that all has to bring before I make any comment on it. But I think that people are kind of both excited for the idea of a new weapon type and fairly frightened of the idea that it's going to be harder to complete a character now. It's going to be harder to get everything for somebody. But we don't know a lot of what's going on right now when it comes to that kind of thing. All we know is that these weapon classes have been announced and the rates for them have been announced as well. But we don't know is how the creators of the game are going to go out of their way to mitigate those rates. I mean, initially, like the very first few burst weapons, I don't think they will. I think they'll be designed to be difficult to get because they're a luxury item, much like EXs were at the start. But as things go on, they're going to try and, just like EXs, they're going to make it easier as time goes on. So try not to panic and have sensationalist views on how this is all going to go about. It's not going to be the death of free-to-play. It's not going to be all of that. But things that this was always going to happen eventually. We were always going to get a new weapon tier. We were always EX Plus was only ever going to last for so long. And the fact that we've got an entire power creep that lasts for a good 9 months that you don't have to pull anything extra on is actually a godsend. So, I mean, personally, I'm extremely excited to see what the Burst and LD weapons have to offer and all sorts of things that are coming up in the future of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, and I really hope that you guys do too. Obviously, with new information coming up as well, we'll be able to look in more closely at what they do, how they work, how you get them, if it is going to be really difficult to get them and things like that. But for the time being, I think we should just be excited for the prospect of new content more than anything. Now, before we go back to Sherlotta and her banner that includes Rydia and Seymour, don't forget to check out all of the links in the description box below for all of my social media links. That's Facebook, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, and my Twitch channel, which I'll leave on the right-hand side. I'm actually planning on doing some nice things with Sherlotta and and various different banners we've got coming up in the near future on Twitch. So definitely come and check me out on there if you want to come and join me. I quite enjoy the chats. Recently, we've been chatting about old school music and our favourite music tracks when it comes to video games, even outside of the Final Fantasy game. So it's been good fun. So come and let us know what your favourite old school tracks are. And obviously don't forget to check out DissidiaDB.com and the Tonbury Troop for all the amazing information that they bring to the table. And of course all of the other content creators for Opera Omnia as well. They all appreciate your likes, subscribes and clicks and everything as much as I do. Now unfortunately, just like Leon before her, Charlotta's banner is a single EX banner. So Seymour and Rydia will appear on this banner, but they're not going to receive their EX weapons as reruns, which is really unfortunate because Rydia EX would have been a much more likeable banner had she been a secondary EX on a banner because she's actually really cool. But unfortunately, Seymour isn't particularly great even with an EX weapon, so there is literally no reason you would use him without one. And going forward, Chaos is next week, so we're definitely not going to use characters that don't have an EX weapon at this point. And, I mean, if you've got Rydia's EX and you haven't fully maxed her out or anything, then this is a nice bonus, but Seymour is pretty much going to straight translate to Power Stones, I'm afraid. So let's talk about Sherlotta a little bit. Now, Sherlotta is a character that a lot of people, as I said at the beginning of this video, have been extremely excited about. And despite the fact that she comes literally the last banner before EX Plus starts to happen, she's actually extremely enticing. Coming from Crystal Chronicles, she's a lot of crystals are involved in her kit. And it's very, very interesting. And one of the nicest things about her is that the large majority of her abilities don't take up your turn count in any way. So she just gets free turn after free turn after free turn. And so she's inherently going to make your scores higher by basically not really being there, if that makes sense. She has a Light of the Crystal, which is a Brave Battery that has no action delay whatsoever, doesn't increase the total turn count, which it's really, really nice, and it gives her the Radiance of the Crystal buff, which also changes her Brave and HP attack into stronger versions of themselves. But they're differently named. They have Tranquil Light, which is a Brave Plus, which is a Party Battery, which is great. We like Party Batteries, just like Sarah Brave Attack Plus, Lena Attack Plus, same sort of thing as those. And then she has Throw Staff, which is an HP Plus version with a name, basically, which is most similar to Warrior of Light's HP Attack Plus, because it batteries herself a little bit before she throws it, and then it does a 2-hit Brave HP attack, provided you have all of her crystal extensions and weapon passives and all that, which can actually have 120% Brave Overflow as well. Her HP Attack Plus is basically the only way she'll ever deal bravery damage, like in order to break an opponent, so do bear that in mind. Sherlotta is not designed as an attacking unit. Her EX attack will take away a lot of your opponent's bravery, but it will never break them, and her HP Plus is the only way that she's able to actually break things. But her Crystal Generation ability is an extremely interesting and unique skill that batteries the party, like most of her stuff does, and does an AoE HP attack that split damage across the opponent's party. However, if you have, this is a big reason to have her 35 CP weapon. Her 35 CP weapon is absolutely mandatory, but to be honest, at this point, you should really be going into most of my kind of overviews of characters with the assumption that you have every weapon for these characters. But her Crystal Generation actually does additional AoE HP attacks based on the current bravery value of all 3 party members that are present in your party. So she batteries everybody. Let's say everybody has 30,000 HP and 30,000 bravery, and you have 2 opponents. She'll go raise battery up. Let's say it maxes everybody out to 30,000. She'll then do 3 lots of 15,000 damage to each opponent. And this is really strong, particularly against a single target, because you just suddenly go, oh yeah, 90k damage. It's just, what? It's lovely. It's just an extremely powerful move that you kind of use when you're trying to close a game out. Sherlotta is there primarily to focus on supporting the cast. She also gets a little bit of HP regen from the Light of the Crystal, which she gets by using her Light of the Crystal abilities and things like that. She gets a little bit of HP regen, a little bit, so some extra max bravery, some extra percentage on attack, which is nice. She only has a small party aura in her abilities, which is her level 58 and 68 passive. She doesn't have massive amounts of party auras. Like, she'll give a little bit of max bravery, attack, and speed, which is quite nice. But the other thing to bear in mind when it comes to Sherlotta is that she doesn't have any way of regenerating her skill uses, so make them count. So, one thing that's I've been told a lot by a few people is that her having too much speed is actually quite a bad thing. Like, you don't want her to have too much speed because you don't want her to kind of run out of her buff uses that she gets from her EX weapon too quickly, so that her party members can make the most efficiency out of them. She wants to kind of stay in the back row and just do her support thing, and she has a very unique thing that her EX weapon will do, which I'll come to in a moment, that you definitely want to take as much advantage of as possible. Her level 65 passive is quite simple. It's another brave. It's just yet another brave battery, which is really nice. You just get some extra. You get some extra bravery from everybody. If you have the Bloomstone, you'll get an extra use out of it. You get some more bravery out of it. It's just another method for her to raise bravery for the party. Whether you're using that for Crystal Generation for her big HP attack, or whether you're using it for her EX or anything like that, or whether you just want more bravery. This is what Sherlotta's shtick is. She just keeps giving bravery to everybody constantly. She's got nice ways of using it as well, so that she can kind of take use of your opponent, of your party members' max bravery, and then utilize them herself through crystal generation. But her primary use is just to make sure everyone's bravery is pretty much maxed out at all times. And she also has one other thing that's really nice that she does, but it comes from her EX weapon. Now, Sherlotta's EX weapon is actually very, very interesting, and I did mention as well that while a lot of her abilities also don't have any addition to the turn count, they also have no action delay, so she gets to act again straight away after them, and that's a really nice thing to be able to do. Her 65 does it, her Light of the Crystal does it, and her EX attack does it. So her EX attack doesn't have an HP attack attached to it, so do bear that in mind when you're using her. But because it has no action delay, at worst you can just throw the staff and then you get an HP attack at the end of it. But it reduces all enemy bravery to 1/5 of their current value, so it's a percentage gravity-based attack. It raises party bravery based on her max bravery. It grants to herself Light of Creation for 2 turns, and I'll get to this in a moment. No action delay, doesn't increase turn count. What Light of Creation does is it increases by a percentage the HP damage that your whole party deals. So if your Warrior of Light was going to deal 10,000 HP damage, I know that's not a lot, but I'm giving an example, was going to deal 10,000 HP damage with an attack. Instead of 10,000, he deals 12,000. So you can imagine how much 20% extra HP damage from all 3 of your party members adds up. And it adds up a lot. This is the reason that people want Sherlotta so badly when it comes to early chaos, because she inherently makes every other character do more damage. And her EX, it has a normal recast rate, which means you're going to get it every 3 skill uses or so, every 3 turns or so. So you could obviously got ways of dealing with it straight away. You can use her. You could, if you really wanted to deal a big amount of damage with Sherlotta, you could use her EX skill, then her Light of the Crystal, and then Crystal Generation, so that you're getting ridiculous amounts of damage out of her. She doesn't do very much damage until she wants to do damage. When Crystal Generation, again, bear in mind you only have 4 uses of that skill though, even with all of the +1s and everything, you get 4 uses of Crystal Generation, which isn't a huge number. But you get 8 uses of Light of the Crystal, and obviously her EX regenerates quite quickly. So you will get a lot of Brave power out of her. Having access to a Brave and HP attack plus does make her longevity really quite strong. But honestly, just that 20% extra HP damage doesn't sound like much. Well, it does to me, but it may not sound like much because it sounds very simple. But that simple buff does absolute wonders for your party's damage output. Just like I said, imagine, Noel, for example. Noel's Meteor Javelin, each one of his HP attacks doing 20% extra damage, no matter how high he goes with it, with his cap. It's crazy. It's an extraordinary thing, and because it's so simplistic, it works so brilliantly with so many characters. She is like an ultimate support machine. She has HP regen, she has Brave batteries coming out of her backside, she does the 20% HP damage, she doesn't add to your turn count almost at all. She's just an absolute monstrosity when it comes to supporting your other 2 characters. The only thing that she doesn't do is a lot of damage, unless she's only got 4 uses of Crystal Generation. That's the only bad thing I can think of for her. She only has a 10% attack aura, but she does give... she gives the 20% HP damage, which makes up for it. So if you were to use her with some other characters, then more auras would be nice, because her attack aura is a little bit lackluster when you compare her to, say, Sarah or Yuna when they've got their cursed artifacts. It does make quite a difference, but you can't look at her kit and then deny the fact that that 20% HP damage extra on your entire party is something to sniff at, because it's not. It's extremely powerful. The only thing I will say is that she is extremely hyped for a reason. She's been hyped for months since she came out in JP. I've been looking at her since she came out in JP for quite some time, and the reason for that is this 20% HP damage and the fact that everything I've just basically stated. Do not go into Sherlotta thinking, if I don't get this character, I can't do chaos, because a lot of people online have made it sound that way. I'm probably going to make a video in the near future designating a load of characters and team compositions that I feel will work really well for the Chaos era or the early Chaos era that a lot of other people have used, through videos that I've seen, through various information that I've seen, and I want to give some example team compositions that will work really well for those initial stages, because as time progresses it will get easier, there will be more characters with the X pluses, There'll be more like different mechanics that you can use. There'll be a lot of things that you can do for Chaos. Is Sherlotta amazing for them? Yeah, she is. She's really amazing for them. But she's not the be-all and end-all. So if you can't afford her, don't sit there and go, oh god, I'm never going to be able to do this. Because you probably can. There are other characters that you can use in her place. If you don't have a lot of those characters, so characters like Ramza or Lena, or Aerith even, there are very limited options for early Chaos. So Sherlotta is definitely a recommended banner, I'll say that right now. Just don't panic too much if you don't get her. There are other options available to you. Speaking of Sherlotta's EX+, unfortunately DissidiaDB.com doesn't quite have the information on there just yet because it's literally only just happened in JP. But having a quick look at it, when you've got her EX+, it gives a Brave Regen and HP regen effect to the Lighter Creation framed buff that she gets from her EX skill, so it's just more support basically. She gets the bonus sphere of, when granting a buff, recovers allies' bravery based on 10% of their initial bravery at the start of their turn for 3 actions. Which is, again, it's not necessary, but as with all spheres, and again, I will make a video when it comes to spheres nearer the time, but it's just an extra nice thing to have, and having it last for 3 turns is actually really nice. But the Crystal Break passives that she gets from it are, when she has her weapon equipped or the passive equipped, it increases her max bravery and attack by 60%, so basically it brings her in line with everybody else at this point in time for EX+. She gets Radiance of the Crystal and Lighter Creation, which are 15 CP buff, and her EX buff at the start of the mission straight away, so you'll be able to get that extra damage in from the beginning, and you'll also get her Brave HP attack without having to use her skill straight away, which is actually quite nice in and of itself. And then she also gets a buff to the Pulse of the Crystal Core, which regenerates more bravery, and it also adds an attack and Brave Overflow limit plus effect to Pulse of the Crystal Core, which brings her in line with basically everyone else that does support at this point in time. She's still a really strong character. I read a lot when it was revealed what it was going to do that a lot of people were disappointed in Sherlotta's EX+, but honestly, I think that her kit is so inherently strong that to completely revolutionize it again would just break her. She presents something that no one else can do. People used her EX in Chaos for a very long time, and this is just there to bring her back up to speed with what she had before. She also gets a Throw Staff Plus, which reminds me, I haven't actually touched on the fact that her HP Attack Plus inflicts a debuff, a framed debuff on your opponent, which reduces their initial bravery and gives them sap. So that's going to make it even harder for your opponent to use their HP damage, because their initial bravery is down and they're going to lose bravery every turn just by having sap, and that's just by using her 1 HP attack that she's got. Like a regular HP attack that she's got. So, I mean, it's still a nice thing to do. The fact that you can stack that with other debuffs because it's framed is also very nice. But the Throw Staff Plus is a 3-hit Brave HP attack that can have 150% Brave Overflow, because normally it only has 120% Overflow and it does 2 hits. And it also still inflicts Light Denial, but it will Light of Rejection, however it ends up being named. And then it reverts back to HP attack / throw stuff after you use it. So basically you get an extra strong HP attack plus to use after you've used Pulse of the Crystal, so that you've got a little bit of extra damage and you get the extra overflow. And, bear in mind that she's already buffing everybody's overflow damage with the buffs that the Crystal Core itself is getting. She actually does a lot better damage, and she gives damage to her party members in a much more efficient manner. Like I said, people seemed like they were disappointed in her EX+, but quite honestly, I don't think that a lot of people were planning on waiting until her EX+ to come around before pulling for her in the hopes of getting... I mean, a lot of people want Rydia EX+, because it is very cool, but I think you'd probably pull for her even if you already had Sherlotta, so I wouldn't worry too much. I think that because her kit is so inherently strong, that it was never going to revolutionize her. It was just going to bring her back up to where she needed to be. Coming off of what I've said about Sherlotta's EX+, unless we start getting some of the banners like Golden Week, which are very unlikely because Golden Week is a celebration that's reserved for Japan, really, we're not going to see Sherlotta EX+ again until her lost chapter comes around, and that's literally the event before last that's happened in JP. I think it's still live right now, in fact. So, we've got a while to wait if you don't grab Sherlotta now. She is going to be very, very strong. like I said earlier, don't panic if you can't get her, but if you can, you probably should try at the very least. As always, I have to present the lovely, fabulous infographics from the Tonberry Troop, Ingwelder, Dreamy and the rest of the crew, and this one is for Sherlotta, and this will give you a nice chance to just pause the video and just go through everything that you need to look at with regards to her kit, in case anything that I've said doesn't make sense or anything like that. And it also will tell you the artifacts that are most important for her. As I've said as well, her having too much speed is actually a negative thing because she'll go through her buffs too quickly, and that can be a bit of a problem. So if you go through and get all of her bravery ups as well, because it means more bravery means more damage as far as she's concerned. Having attack is nice because some of her abilities do scale off of her attack. So there's those two are the things that you want to have in combination. In terms of pros and cons, as they say on the infographic, having her party HP damage output increased combats the fact that Chaos difficulty boss's HP is going to be that much higher, and then because she batteries so efficiently, it also counters their defense. Because defense is going to get so high. The reason that characters like Noctis fall off so hard in Chaos difficulty is because they go from dealing 9999 damage to a lot of bosses on every hit to about 1000, and it's that defense jump is pretty hefty. So having a battery in your party that's dedicated to doing that can use that bravery in efficient ways, is really strong. Similarly, having the EX gravity effect from the 80% reduction in bravery, followed by the framed debuff that she has, will make it so that it's harder for them to just turn around and kill you. You have HP regen as well, which means that she kind of covers all bases when it comes to support. But she does have only the 10% attack aura, which may be off-putting to some players. I do think that she's very exciting. I think that she's very interesting, and she has a lot to bring to the table. But I do want to keep reiterating that she is not the only character in the game. I know how hyped she is. I know how strong she is, but don't panic if you can't get her. There are other characters that will fill that role for you. If you have Ramza or Lena, or Sarah, or characters like that, you have options when it comes to early Chaos. Sherlotta is one of the easiest characters to ease yourself into Chaos difficulty with, but as time progresses, obviously we're going to get more EX pluses and stuff that will help mitigate that. But she's pretty fantastic. So do I think that Sherlotta's banner is worth pulling on? Honestly, I think if I said no at this point, I think the entire OO community would come at me with pitchforks and torches. So yeah, Sherlotta is an extremely good character, despite the fact that her banner is actually horrendously poor. Rydia and Seymour offer nothing but power stones for you, but in all honesty, when it comes to a single EX banner, you tend to be pulling for a single thing anyway, and Sherlotta does not disappoint. She's extremely powerful as a support character. She will very easily kind of segue you nicely into the Chaos era without taking too much away from your existing team. She literally is there to support your existing party members. So characters like Cloud with his EX+, Warrior of Light, Squall with his EX+, the later Ultimisia when she comes around, Ace, they all benefit from Sherlotta. There is no party composition, or very few if any party compositions, that don't benefit from having Sherlotta in there at this point in time. And she is going to last for a long while. So Sherlotta is a fantastic pull, and is one that a lot of players, myself included, would probably go all in on, and if push came to shove, pitying her is an option. It really is. She's that strong that I can't not recommend that people put at least some resources into this banner. The reason that I came away from Leon's banner going, yeah, Leon's really good, but be careful with your resources because of the characters coming out around him, this is the banner that I was talking about. If you want Leon, that's cool, but I would suggest you try going for Sherlotta first. Well, this is what I'm going to do anyway. Go for Sherlotta first, see if you get lucky on her, and then if you have leftover resources or expendable resources that you're willing to spend, go back and then get Leon. Because if you have the pair together, it's pretty damn nice. And Sherlotta, but she has to come first when it comes to those two. So that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Sherlotta, what you think of her banner, what you think of burst weapons and the LD weapons and all the information overload that we've had when it comes to Opera Omnia this past week in both global and the JP versions. We've had a lot to take in. It's difficult to report on it all, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot to take in. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up in the near future. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up in the far future apparently as well. But let me know what you guys think. Are you worried that the introduction of burst weapons and the rates for them is too scary? Do you think that it's going to make it harder to play the game cheaply or anything like that? Have you heard more about the new mod passes that they're doing and things like that? And let me know your opinions on that. But for the time being, I shall leave you with Sherlotta, and I wish you all the best of luck in getting her, because I'm sure that many of you will be pulling for her, and I know I will be. So thanks very much again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell for notifications on any of my future videos, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.